Welcome everybody to the Detroit Grand Prix Media Center. We are joined today by Taylor Kyle, President of ARROW McLaren SP, and Alexander Rossi, driver for Andretti Autosport. For those that did not see, yesterday ARROW McLaren SP announced that Alexander Rossi would be joining the team next year in 2023 and beyond as part of a multi-year deal. So we just wanted to provide some availability for you to ask any questions you might have. I will kick it off and then I will open it up to the room. So we'll start with Alex. I'll give you a pretty simple one. What made you want to join ARROW McLaren SP?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. This is a cool moment. I think it's been very obvious what Zach and Taylor have done over the past couple of years in ARROW McLaren's SP. Their competitiveness and just the overall performance of the team has exponentially increased kind of every event that we go to. So that was a pretty easy decision for me to see them as a championship contender, and going forward to the future, I think it's only going to get better.
And Taylor, what attracted the team to a driver like Alex?
I think it's pretty simple. Alex has a fantastic resume. He's a good fit for our organization. In the short amount of time that I've known him, I've got no doubts that he's certainly going to elevate what we're doing as a great teammate and a great driver for our team. So it's really a no-brainer for us. We're trying to elevate on track, off track, bring in the best talent that we can, and this is proof of that.
All right, we'll open it up to questions from the room. Just raise your hand, and I believe we have a mic out in the gallery. We'll start with Ben.
Hi Alex, how excited are you to start this new chapter in your career?
Very excited. I think it's I've driven for Andretti for quite some time, and there's been a lot of success that we've had there, and I'm forever appreciative to Michael and Brian Herta for the opportunity back in 2016. But life ebbs and flows, and I think it was time for a change. So I think the future is very, very, very exciting, and I'm looking forward to getting started. Obviously, there's a lot left to do in the 2022 season, so that's the main focus right now. But yes, come the end of September, 2023 will be a very exciting time for me.
Excellent. Now for yourself, Taylor, how excited are you to have Alex as part of the team?
Yeah, very excited. I think it's been a goal of ours to expand to 3 entries, and bringing Alex on board automatically makes that a contender. I think that's the goal for us, is not to certainly detract from the other 2. And bringing Alex and the team we're going to build around him, I think is very exciting for me, and it gives us 3 great opportunities every week to compete for wins. I'm confident that Alex will help push our program forward with the experience and knowledge that he has, so it ticks all the boxes in my opinion.
Congratulations, guys.
All right, we'll go down to Bruce Martin.
Alex, after all the years you've driven a Honda, how interested and intrigued are you to see what Chevy has to offer?
Well, it's no secret, the performance that Chevrolet has had, to start this season, up until Indy, they won every race, right? And obviously, ARROW McLaren SP's performance at the 500 with the results they got, showed that, it's a very, very competitive battle between Honda and Chevrolet, as it has been, since I joined the series in 2016. So, again, very, very grateful to Honda and the opportunities that they have provided to me. I've won a lot of races and a lot of categories with them, outside of IndyCar as well. So that relationship has been phenomenal. And on the Chevrolet side of things, I worked very closely with Ray Gosling for quite some time when he was an engineer at Andretti. So, I think there's already some built-in, trust and knowledge and relationship base there, which will be a great thing, to switch manufacturers and to have that kind of communication line to open right from the beginning.
And how about having Pato as a teammate? He's young, he's aggressive. You're still young and aggressive. To put the 2 of you together, how exciting opportunity is that?
No, I think it's fantastic. Obviously, Pato's one of the guys that has come on the scene in the past couple of years. Is someone that's properly a championship challenger, and someone you got to beat every weekend. So I think from day one we're going to push each other really hard, and naturally that's just going to elevate the team to have that kind of dynamic. So he's someone that I've gotten to know a little bit over the past couple of years, and we've had had some jokes together, but I don't really know him that well. Look forward to getting to know him and obviously everyone at the team. But I think yes, there's going to be a competitive drive inside the organization, which will be a benefit for everyone.
Thanks, Bruce. We'll go down to Nathan and then Steve and Jenna.
Hey, Alex. First question for me. I know you were really convinced back in 2019 that staying with Andretti was ultimately the right move for you for lots of different reasons, between the partners you had, the relationship with Honda, what you guys were building with Andretti. When you reflect on the last 3 years there, what do you feel like, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't say went wrong, but why things didn't play out the way that you had hoped that they would in 2019?
Well, if I had the answer to that, we'd probably all be in a different position right now. Like, I don't know that there's ever an easy solution to something like that. Obviously in 2019 we were coming off, a very successful 2018 and beginning of 2019, and that was the team that I had driven for, and that's where my relationships were. And at the time that was an easy decision. Ultimately, I don't think this hasn't met anyone's expectations. Myself, the teams, Honda's partners, Napa AutoNation. So, I don't think it's necessarily a huge surprise for anyone. That being said, I think there has been scenarios that have been outside of our control. But that's motorsports and that's life, and that's just the way things go sometimes. So, again, like I said, very grateful for the opportunities that I was given, very grateful for the partners and the relationships that I've developed with Napa and AutoNation and Honda. And, I'm still going to be close with those people that are those decision makers, and we'll be friends. Like I've become friends with those guys. So none of that's going to change. We're just going to be looking to beat their ass in 23.
Well, then, kind of looking forward to this year, I know you touched a little bit on why you wanted to make this move, but when you are moving to a team that hasn't won a championship, hasn't won a 500 yet, and I know those things are very important to you, what makes you feel like the pairing of you with Taylor, with Zach, with Chevy, this team, Pato, etc., will help give a different result than we've seen the last couple of years?
Well, I think when you look, Taylor and Zach really only got control and got to have the direction of the team, not too long ago, and what they've accomplished in a short period of time speaks for itself. The result that they had last year, a huge amount of respect for Pato, obviously, but he's still new to the championship and relatively young, and the result that he had was phenomenal. So I think that the inherent performance is there, it exists. I think if you look at what the team did at Indy this year, they were the second strongest team. I think what Ganassi was able to do was obviously phenomenal. We've all touched on that, but I think that ARROW McLaren SP was certainly the next best shot, and certainly had our number in a lot of respects. So I think this is a team that is going to be a championship challenger. They already were last year, they will be this year, and I certainly think that'll be the case going forward.
And one last one, would you classify this parting of ways between you and Andretti as a mutual decision? Was it essentially up to you, or?
So this decision was made for me in kind of last summer. It was clear that I was going to look at different options and explore what was out there, and I think that I've driven for Andretti Autosport for a long time, and sometimes you need to change things, whether that's on a personal side, a professional side, or the both combined. And I think it was time for a change, and there was a lot of, like I said, a lot of things that we accomplished that was very special, and that all have memories of forever, and they essentially gave me a base and established me in IndyCar to have a future in the NTT INDYCAR Series. So I owe a lot to the organization, but ultimately it was, for me, it was time to do something different, and I don't think there's a better pairing out there for who I am as a person and a competitor than ARROW McLaren SP.
Thank you, Nathan. Jenna?
Hey guys, Taylor, is there a car number yet for Alex?
No, I don't think so. I think we're evaluating all the options. We've got 3 cars, 3 numbers, so we just need to see where the pieces fit into that, and we'll go from there, but haven't really thought about that at the moment.
You got asked last week about 7 cars, that it's still an evaluation.
Yeah, for sure. I think, Felix is doing what he needs to do, and us as a team are doing what we need to do. It's again, been no secret that that team is taking a little bit of time to gel, no doubt, but, we're seeing, we're seeing fantastic quality pace. We're seeing good races. Obviously, the Indy 500 was fantastic on a lot of fronts, so we're taking it day by day for sure.
And Andretti said that AutoNation's staying with Kirkwood, Napa. Does that go with you? Do you know, Alex?
No, those sponsors have always been an Andretti sponsors.
Okay. And Taylor, Alex is on a long drought. What makes you think that he can turn it back on with you guys?
Yeah, I don't particularly consider the last 2 years being indicative of what Alex can bring to the table from a performance point of view. He's always had the pace. One thing or another has cost him race day results. I'm not close enough to the camp to understand that, but what I do see is that he's a determined, very focused driver that's had a lot of results. I don't believe that you can just wake up one day and magically lose all your talent. So I feel very strongly about the fact that if we give Alex all the tools that he needs to succeed, that he will.
Alex, you said that you knew you wanted to look around last summer at other teams. In January, you named 4 teams that you said these are probably the only 4 places I'd go to. So when did you know that you were going to make a move?
Again, like last summer was when kind of those, personally, that decision was probably made. But then, there's a lot of other things that have to fall. Like, yes, I can want a horse. That doesn't mean I'm going to get one, right? So I had to then, from a personal standpoint, look at, what options were available and what was actually out there, right? And I think that this all started very, very early. We're talking about 21 when we're discussing a thing for 2023. So I think this is a record for a silly season announcement in a lot of respects. So I would say around the January time was when it started to become clear what the options were actually going to be. And then from there, it was just about, from a organizational standpoint, figuring out how all those pieces could fall together. And, I got to tip my hat to Zach and Taylor and the whole kind of McLaren organization for making it a pretty seamless process.
And lastly, excuse me, how's your confidence? When you go through a long streak like this, sometimes a guy can get rattled and then you have a great Indy 500. I'm just wondering how you're feeling.
No, I don't care about the past, honestly. And the Indy 500 was okay. It wasn't great. We didn't win. So, ultimately, that's what we show up for. That's what these guys, get to the shop at 7 a.m. for and train for. So, it was an acceptable result from where we started, but it didn't meet my expectations. And obviously, the past 2.5 years haven't met my expectations. But this weekend's a new opportunity, and we're going to go try and do our best to win the race and see what the rest of the year brings.
Hey guys, congratulations. Alexander, you're going to get a chance to work with Rob Wickens, someone who you had a bit of a rivalry with in Europe for a couple of years, and maybe the first year he came over here. Are you looking forward to that, and what do you think he can do to help you?
I've known Rob for 10 plus years. Everyone thinks we had a big rivalry in 2018. We didn't. He was obviously upset at me. I was not that bothered by it. But we still, we've been close friends for a very long time, and we are to this day. So, I think he's obviously an incredibly talented individual and a fantastic race car driver. So, the element that he brings to the team is very unique in the IndyCar paddock. There's no other team that has a championship caliber driver that's kind of aiding the current drivers in terms of how they can improve on and off the track. So I think that's a great resource that the team has.
And Taylor, you at one time were going to run a third car for much of the second half of this season. Did bring in someone that's already in the series kind of aim that? How is the staffing for the third car coming along? Is that something you're working on now?
Yeah, we've been working on that since the beginning of the year, so it's going well. In this climate, it's very difficult, but our team's doing a great job of identifying recruiting and pursuing and doing the things that we need to do to aggressively get some people in the door. So that's all going well. I would say that, you know, the plans to run a third car a few times towards the end of the year was more of an opportunity for us to evaluate should we need it. So obviously, having Alex signed up and in the fold eliminates the need for us to go to market and evaluate. And I just don't particularly want the distraction of that as we go into a late season championship hunt. So that's the thought behind it.
Taylor, do you have a short list of people you want to pair with Alex as far as engineer, race strategist, or is that still being evaluated?
It's still being evaluated for sure, but you know, the overwhelming concern for me is that we get the right people and the right fit for our organization, and certainly somebody that meshes well with Alex and can just hit the ground running from day one. So we're evaluating that. We're keeping our eyes wide open, understanding, you know, what's out there, who's available, who would be the ultimate fit for our organization. So no decisions yet, but got a few feelers.
And do you have sponsorship lined up yet to be announced, or do you have an idea on what will be on his car?
Nothing concrete at the moment, but what I can say is that our organization, from a commercial point of view, is very strong. We've got a lot of momentum. Our partners, current and prospective, love the idea of having Alex in the team, so I've got no doubts that we'll be in a good place.
For Alex, will you have, I know we're doing this for IndyCar, but at some point in time, is there an opportunity, or do you still want to do F1? There'd be an opportunity for you to move it.
No, I'm focused. I have a lot to accomplish here. You know, at one point I might ask Zach for a half day just to show the kids what's up. No. But no, I have so much to accomplish in this championship and a lot of goals here. And you know, my time in Europe was fantastic, and it made me who I am today. But ultimately, you know, my focus and attention is 100% on this championship and this series and winning races for ARROW McLaren SP.
Any additional questions? Lewis?
I'll shout it. It's for Taylor. You know, we've seen in history, just even in the Indy 500, that the multiple car teams, more than two. How early had you identified, you said you wanted to try things, but how critical is it these days to be a more than two car team?
I think it's critical so long as you do it the right way and you don't dilute the other entries, right? So that was the process for us. Is, yeah, we were ambitious and wanted to grow, no doubt, but we wanted to do it in the right way. So this opportunity gives us that shot, and I'm very convinced that the more arrows you have in the quiver and sharp ones and ones that fly straight, the better you'll be at Indy. It gives you more data, and it gives you more opportunities to win race, obviously. So you can't just continue to throw entries on the board just to try to win the 500. I don't think that's how it works. But for us, so long as we're doing it in the right way, the more the merrier.
As a follow-up, you also announced a new facility you're building in Indiana. Are you able to share information? Because ARROW is ARROW. I know they're two different formulas from F1. But will that be additive, use a corporate word?
Yeah, additive I think is a great word. This facility for us is a lot of things. I think it's a catalyst for you know, future success. It's a catalyst for our people to come to a facility that they're proud of and that it's new and cutting edge and class leading. It gives us room to grow, get our elbows out. For those of you that have been to our current facility, it's tight and it's not ideal, but it serves us well and we've done a great job there. This new shop is a lot of things for us, and I think it ultimately signifies our intent and our investment and our serious focus on you know, producing at a high level in IndyCar racing. So that's the focus for us, and the building will give us, you know, just another tool to make sure that we're capitalizing on all of our resources.
Thanks.
Any more? One more for Nathan?
For Taylor, as you guys have been continuing to, I guess, maybe struggle to get consistent results out of that second car, was there ever any trepidation about adding a third when you guys are still trying to get that second car, I guess, I don't know, fix maybe isn't the right word, but just getting, was there ever any worry or thought to getting too solid before you guys went through that three for next year?
Not particularly. It was certainly a conversation, but I think in that conversation and the subsequent evaluation process that we went through to understand what were the principal concerns on that entry, I think was they're all very small things, right? There's no foundational issues with it. The people are good, the driver's good, the cars are good. It's just one thing or another. I think it's no different than Alex's last couple of years, right? I mean, the pace is there, the speed's there. It's just it could be any number of things, right? But it's nothing that concerned me as we scale up. So we made the decision to do so, and I think ultimately what that'll allow us is more opportunities to solve problems quicker rather than looking at it as a dilution of what we've got going on.
And then one more question on Felix. I know you said that he's maybe still in line for that seat to return for 23. What does he need to do to convince you guys to keep him around?
I think Felix is a fantastic driver, and he's a great fit for our team. Felix just needs to continue doing what he's doing, right? We're evaluating how to make our team better all the time, and Felix is a part of that right now. So as long as he's doing what he needs to do, and he knows what that is, then he'll be driving for us. There's no secret about that. So I'm proud of Felix. I think he does a great job. I'm expecting him to have a great weekend this weekend. He was very quick here last year, and obviously we know how that ended. So I'm just excited for Felix because I feel like he's in that groove now, and our team's in that groove. He had a fantastic Indy 500, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Go back to Jenna.
For Taylor, different topic. It's been 5 days, so maybe your feelings have changed or your opinions have changed, but Pato in that moment, great points day, but doesn't get you that Indy 500 win. I'm just wondering what you thought of that last lap.
Well, it was definitely exciting. I was on my toes, no doubt. I think, you look at that race in retrospect, and everybody in the paddock understands that it's you win there or you don't. It's very much like the Super Bowl. There's only one team that leaves there happy. I've certainly been able to take a step back and realize that it was a fantastic points day for us. It was a great couple of weeks in a lot of respects for us. I think it was good to see both of our cars running 1-2 there in the final stages of the race. That's something, frankly, we haven't been able to do in the history of our program. So we've certainly put in the work and seen the results of that. And that's what excites me. It's that incremental growth. It's that incremental performance gain. It's us. It's validating in a lot of ways that we're doing the right things on and off track. So yes, it stings and it sucks that we didn't win, but at the same time, there's certainly a lot to be proud of, top to bottom, the whole event.
Would you have been okay if you wrecked it?
Look, I think that would have been a tough pill to swallow, right? I think we've seen that a lot of times in that race, and what I'm proud of is Pato's maturity to understand that, us as an organization, we value the 500 and the championship equally, and it's hard to do that because both require so much time, effort, and resource. But I think in the position that he was in, he made a move that was wise beyond his years with the bigger picture in mind. So that's what I think about, and that's what makes me proud, is that he's a young kid in the scene that's very aggressive, and I know in his heart he wanted to just keep it flat and see what happened. But something in the back of his mind said, hey, let's focus on the championship, and that to me is a huge thing.
All right, one more for Bruce.
Alex, to get this buttoned up and out of the way so early in the season, do you feel a tremendous sense of relief?
Yes and no. I think it's nice to not have to talk to people about it anymore. You all know, so great, good for you. But at the same time, this sport, you're only as good as your last race. It's all irrelevant. You have to go out there, and every practice, every qualifying, every race, you have to execute. You have to prove why you should be here. So that part of things doesn't change in my mind. But yes, it's nice to not have to have the swings and roundabout questions about this anymore.
One more, Nathan.
For both of you guys, Alex, I know you mentioned that you started looking around or having conversations or actively thinking about 2023 last summer. It seems like all of this silly season stuff has gotten up to speed a lot quicker than normal. Have you guys felt like there's any reason behind that? I mean, maybe Alex in some way was the catalyst behind that. I'm not entirely sure, but just for both of you guys, do you feel like this has been a unique several months in terms of driver movement and talks and things like that?
I'd say there's certainly a lot of conversation about it, but you know, for us, we've been laser focused on this third car, and you know, I read a lot, right? So I see it, but I don't particularly focus on it. So for me, it's a lot of noise until it's been proven to be. So I don't try to distract myself with a lot of that stuff. So I've been busy enough trying to make this race team, you know, continue to take steps forward and making sure that we get Alex in the fold and those types of things. So that's my perspective.
Yeah, I think it surprised everyone, honestly, how quickly it all took off. I don't know what the rhyme or reason for it was, per se, but yes, it was early. And from that standpoint, it takes a lot of coordination between all parties involved.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks.